Attack surface management, it's an interesting one.
I mean, it's an interesting concept. So the idea of a complete shift right. So you look at everything from things are going to be exposed, monitor what's exposed, and start from there. And it makes sense for businesses that are trying to manage massive estates that maybe they've let become a little bit unruly. But I think there's still room to consider the shift left, and security by design is, I believe, one of the OWASP top 10 that was introduced earlier this year, because it's still pretty fundamental, and we don't want to slip into a world where we're encouraging people to just rest on the fact that, oh, my attack surface management tool will pick it up, so I don't need to think about it in the design phase. I mean, I don't know. Do you think that's a risk?
I don't know. I guess is it not just automating bug bounty, or is it deeper than that?
Well, I think it is deeper than that. Obviously the ability to be able to test things beyond what's been written down in a published scope is beneficial. In attack surface management, you can have a discussion about extending the breadth of the scope, and I'm sure you can do that in bug bounties. But let's be honest, bug bounties are about, from a tester's perspective, are about finding the most efficient way to find the most and the highest risk vulnerabilities so that you get a payout. You're not really interested or invested into securing the client. I mean, maybe you are invested into getting the kudos or being added to the Hall of Fame, but your incentive is not to be able to extend the scope. It's just to be able to leverage that scope to find what you can. But yeah, I mean, attack surface management, I think, does extend things a bit further in terms of actually encouraging companies to consider how they start to define their infrastructure to begin with, and then also encourages testing providers to try and extend the way that that's being defined. So do you include SaaS products in attack surface management? Do you consider your environment to just be a particular IP address range because that's all you know about, or are you doing DNS reconnaissance to be able to identify maybe some forgotten sites and things like that you've had over the year? I don't think it's fair to describe it as an automated bug bounty, really, but what it still does do is encourage I think, thinking about things from a we've already failed perspective, and I'd really like us to be looking at things much more from a how can we start building this right perspective.
And it isn't just more noise.
I mean, that's for a CISO to say, and not me. I think there are companies that it's helped. There are companies that it's done absolutely nothing for. The reality is you still need a team to be able to manage the information once you've received it, and you need a good tool to be able to interpret the information that it manages to aggregate. Sure, if it's just scanning thousands of servers and telling you thousands of open ports, that's not very useful. But if it can apply some context, then I'm sure it is incredibly useful for any 1,000+ staff business that has infrastructure that has been deployed over the last 20 or 30 years.